a beautiful girl named Precious. She was known far and wide for her kindness, her radiant smile, and her generous heart. Precious had lost her mother at a young age, and for years, it was just her and her loving father, Chief Felix, who raised her with all the care in the world. But one day, everything changed. Chief Felix remarried a woman named Margaret, a widow from a distant land. She was beautiful, with striking features and a charm that could deceive even the wisest elder. But behind her graceful facade was a heart as cold as stone. Margaret, Precious's stepmother, quickly revealed her true nature, a woman driven by envy and cruelty. From the moment she set foot in Chief Felix's household, Margaret's disdain for Precious was palpable. She hated the young girl's beauty, her kindness, and the love she received from everyone in the village. In her heart, Margaret vowed to rid herself of the girl who, to her, was a constant reminder of all the love and goodness she lacked. Every morning, Margaret would give Precious impossible tasks. Precious, go fetch water from the farthest well, she would order. And don't return until the sun is high in the sky. The well was deep in the forest, beyond the village borders. The path was dangerous, and the journey was long. But Precious, being the obedient and caring daughter, would set out at dawn even when her feet ached and her heart was weary. When she returned, exhausted, Margaret would find another chore to drain her spirit. Clean the entire compound by yourself, Margaret would demand. And I don't want to see a single speck of dust. While Chief Felix was often away on matters of the village council, Margaret ruled the house like a tyrant. She forbade Precious from attending village celebrations or even spending time with her friends. She dressed Precious in rags, hoping to hide her beauty, and refused to feed her properly, leaving her to grow weak. But despite all of this, Precious never lost her light. The villagers noticed the harsh treatment, and they whispered among themselves, but Margaret's clever tongue and deceitful charm kept her true nature hidden from Precious's father. One evening, Margaret concocted a wicked plan. She decided it was time to rid herself of Precious once and for all. She approached Precious with a sweet smile, though her heart was filled with malice. "Dear daughter," she said, her voice dripping with false kindness, "tomorrow, I want you to visit the forest shrine of Oromela. I need you to offer these sacrifices for our family's good fortune." She handed Precious a small basket filled with offerings, kola nuts, honey, and some mysterious herbs. "You must leave before dawn, and you must not speak to anyone on your way," Margaret instructed, her eyes gleaming with wicked intent. "And whatever you do, do not stray from the path." Precious, always obedient, nodded and took the basket. But deep down, something didn't feel right. That night, as Precious lay in her small bed, she was visited by a strange dream. In it, her late mother appeared, bathed in soft light. Her mother spoke in a gentle but urgent voice, "My dear child, beware of the path your stepmother has set you on. She means to harm you. Do not trust her, and take the path of the river instead." When Precious woke, the dream lingered in her mind like a warning. She knew she had to be careful. The next morning, Precious set out before dawn as instructed, but instead of following Margaret's path, she chose the path that led by the river, just as her mother had told her in the dream. As she walked, the forest became denser, the trees casting long shadows in the early morning light. Suddenly, Precious heard a rustling in the bushes. Her heart raced, but she kept walking. Just then, a group of forest spirits emerged from behind the trees. They were small, with glowing eyes and delicate, wispy bodies that shimmered in the dawnlight. "Precious," one of the spirits said in a soft, ethereal voice, "we know why you are here. Your stepmother has sent you to your doom. The path she told you to take leads to the lair of the fierce leopard, Ekuro. But fear not, for your mother's spirit watches over you." The spirits circled Precious, their light warm and protective. They whispered among themselves, then handed her a small gourd filled with enchanted water. "Take this, and when you face danger, pour it onto the earth. It will protect you." Precious thanked the spirits with all her heart and continued her journey along the river path. Soon, she arrived at the shrine of Oromela, the wise oracle. The shrine was peaceful, and the air around it was thick with magic. Precious knelt and placed the offerings before the statue of Oromela, whispering prayers for her family. But just as she was about to leave, a shadow fell over her. It was a Kuro, the leopard, massive and fearsome, its eyes glowing with hunger. It had been waiting in the forest, expecting a meal the victim Margaret had sent to it. Precious's heart pounded in her chest, but she remembered the God given to her by the forest spirits. She quickly poured the enchanted water onto the ground. As the water touched the earth, a bright light erupted from the ground, and the leopard froze in its tracks. The light formed a protective circle around Precious, and the leopard, unable to cross the barrier, snarled in frustration before slinking back into the shadows of the forest. Precious, shaken but unharmed, hurried back to the village. When she returned, Margaret was stunned to see her alive. The stepmother's face twisted with rage and fear. She tried to hide her shock, but her eyes betrayed her wicked plan. That night, Chief Felix returned from a trip. The villagers, having heard the rumors of Margaret's cruelty and Precious's near-death experience, came together and told the chief everything. Precious, though hesitant, confirmed the story, revealing the truth of her stepmother's wickedness. Filled with anger and sorrow, Chief Felix banished Margaret from his household and the village. She fled, humiliated and stripped of her power. As for Precious, peace returned to her life. The villagers celebrated her bravery, and her father, now aware of all that had happened, became even more protective of his daughter. With her stepmother gone and her heart free, Precious blossomed into an even more remarkable woman, loved and respected by all. And though her mother was no longer with her, Precious knew that her spirit would always guide and protect her, just as it had in the forest.